戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Tour.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is April 6, 2026. We are live to tape on episode 929. And today, Resurrection Ritual. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films and author of Archetypalism, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It's post-resurrection Sunday, Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
And there are many great things about April 6th, Basil. I don't know if you knew this.
Okay.
First of all, in 1917, the U.S. enters World War I, formally declared war on Germany, April 6th.
Oh, exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Big day.
More recently, 1994, the Rwandan genocide started. So there's that. That's
goodness.
But let's go back into the 1800s. See, that's where all the real stuff happened. The Church of Latter-day Saints was established by Joseph Smith on April 6th. So
good timing. Okay.
And then also late 1800s, right around the time Helena Blavatsky was running around channeling ascended masters in 1896, opening of the 1896 Summer Olympics. The first modern Olympic Games begins in Athens, Greece.
First modern Olympic Games.
Yeah, they brought it back. They ran it back, from the old days.
Resurrected the Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I'm starting to see a theme here, Gonzo.
Yes.
Yeah, it's big day, big day. And it should be mentioned here at the top as well that as we speak, NASA is streaming on all your favorite streaming sites.
Yeah.
The Artemis 2 flyby of the moon. Started about 1 o'clock. Yes, I'm watching it now. You can see a GoPro image, I guess, attached somewhere on the outside of the spacecraft there. You can see a piece of the spacecraft on the left-hand side. And in the distance, you see the moon. It's about half lit up here. It slowly moves across the screen. I am not seeing any aliens or Nazi bases or anything like that. I don't know what I was going to expect, but they made a pretty big deal about it. I thought, it'd be quite the action-packed event. But there it is, something for all the folks online to screenshot and point out all the wires holding up the moon, all the green screen.
I was told they're going to be able to see the original landing site. I was also told they're going to be the first ones to see the dark side of the moon, but I was told, according to Tom Hanks and Apollo 13, one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, that they saw the dark side of the moon since they couldn't land. The whole idea was they were going to land on the moon, but stuff went haywire on the way. And then so they had to slingshot around the moon to come home. So they lost contact for 33 minutes or something,
Well, here's the thing about the dark side of the moon. We call it the dark side of the moon, but it's also
something glitched. It looks like a pancake now. What's going on with the moon?
Smooshed. The image is getting smooshed here. It's interesting.
But the satellite didn't moosh. The moon mooshed.
Well, the whole thing mooshed.
This is exciting. This is live, folks. Live from the NASA feed. The moon changed its. Oh, there it's back. Oh, they fixed it.
Green screen glitching. Green screen glitching. It's hard. Well, here's the thing. If I was going to say this could be the dark side, because of course the dark side of the moon is not always dark. We just call it that, at least allegedly, if space is real. We could be looking at the backside of the moon right now, and it's just kind of half lit up, and who knows? I don't know. But according to Apollo 13, they lost radio contact when they were on the dark side.
Yeah, that was.
So how are we getting this live stream? They must not be on the dark side yet. This must just be the opening credits.
They have stronger Wi-Fi up there now, maybe
a Starlink satellite kind of bouncing it around. I don't know. Okay, well, it's not that exciting, but there it is. It's a quote unquote historical event, of course, that's happening live on the show. So we got to bring it to the show. There it is. I'll keep this feed up if any aliens pop out or anything. Still waiting for those, the casus belli, for the whole world to unite under a one world government and fight the aliens because they blew up our spaceship or something. So if it happens, we will catch it here on the show.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, well, let's see here. I suppose we should just jump right in. Yes, over the weekend, of course, was Resurrection Day yesterday. Anything to report? Any
just a good time with family and friends and community, and it was nice to finally be done with it in a sense, because my responsibilities of worship leader, I had to do it was nice. So we did a sunrise service, so I got to sing some songs and lead some worship there at 6:30 in the morning, which was about 80 people showed up, which was a good turnout. Yeah, we had a bonfire. It was actually very nice. That was probably my favorite part. And then of course, they don't schedule it well. They had an 8:30 service and then a 10:30 service, which was the other service that I had to lead worship on. But the 8:30 service, they packed so much stuff into that one that it didn't get done till about 10, like past 10 o'clock.
You can't do that.
So we did not have.
You got to keep Easter services short. That's the big secret in the church leadership. You get these Seeker Sunday, or you get the cultural Christians showing up on Christmas and Easter, and you got to keep them short, because all these people who only go to church twice, they get restless. The natives get restless.
I hear they're called CEOs now. Christmas and Easter only. CEO.
Oh, that's cute.
It's a cute thing.
Yeah. Well, interesting. This wasn't part of the plan to bring to the show, but over the weekend, the mainstream media needed something to write about that wasn't just the Iran war, which we'll get to. But there was lots of reports of how specifically Catholic and Orthodox, which I will tell you, I started telling all of you 2023 that it was the Catholics, the Orthodox, some Protestant as well, seeing a huge influx in new Christians. And now it only took the mainstream media 3 years to catch up to the story. But there was lots of big stories about how all of the Catholic churches in New York are overflowing. The Orthodox churches in Des Moines are bursting at the seams. So, I guess they were saving up 3 years of being late to the news to report it this Sunday.
Well, it's typical, the woes of being a time traveling podcast.
I know.
Being a time traveler yourself, I think, you got to be patient for the people. It's a good practice and one of the fruits of the spirit, Basil, is patience.
More exciting than that, Gons, although I don't know what could be more exciting than some sort of, I don't know, what's the word? Crud. What's the word?
I don't know. I don't know.
Revival, some sort of Christian
Revival.
of
Okay,
some
yes.
kind. What could be more exciting? But we had just a magnificent showing of the narrative crafting skills and orchestration of the world elites over the weekend, of course, right in the midst of these battles about Christian nationalism, about, of course, the war in Iran. A narrative was delivered to us in such an interesting way that so many people, I think, I think they missed it. I think a lot of people missed it because it's one of these things. We get the end result of the narrative, but it's much more interesting. Zoom out, look at the news cycle as a whole to see how it developed, which I think is going to give us some interesting insight into how to protect our minds from the mind control that we're all subject to. So we are going to be checking in on the war in Iran, World War III, fifth generation warfare. Let's go, baby.
Fifth gen warfare.
They're targeting you. They're targeting you.
Fifth gen warfare.
So, as many of us
Ambush.
My bad. So as many of us may have heard over the weekend, the celebratory cheer came across the airwaves here in America. Lots of drama, military drama, a full circle moment. Of course, we had a pilot, a couple pilots go down on Good Friday. And then lo and behold, we were happy to learn that one of these pilots was rescued on Resurrection Day. Here is Pete Hegseth explaining to us the culmination of this national story of death and resurrection being brought to us straight from the Department of Defense.
At 1:33 p.m. Eastern Time.
One downed airman evaded capture for more than a day, scaling rugged ridges while hunted by the enemy. When he was finally able to activate his emergency transponder, his first message was simple and it was powerful. He sent a message, God is good. In that moment of isolation and danger, his faith and fighting spirit shone through. You see, shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday. Flown out of Iran as the sun was rising on Easter Sunday. A pilot reborn, all home and accounted for, a nation rejoicing. God is good.
You can hear the crowd. Wow.
Booyah. I mean, presented by Pete Hegseth, almost like a sermon. I mean, he even had this sort of sermon countenance, the way of speaking. I mean, you know it good. Anybody who's been to church on Sunday and the pastor is, you can tell he's saying something very important and he says it bit by bit. So you make sure that this is a very important moment and that you take every pause in his explanation to let it sink into your soul and think about it as he's saying it so that you come to the conclusion before he does.
How many churches across the country will use this or tell this story?
That's what I'm wondering.
Sunday?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad you said. Well, I'm wondering how many of them did it on Sunday, because depending when they got
possible,
the news, technically, because of time zones, technically he was rescued on Saturday night in our time zone. So
Right.
there was a, I don't know, maybe 8-hour period where
The good pastors who ran an audible
the pastors on
Effectively.
the inside, the
Yeah.
pastors who are, who Pete Hegseth has their phone number, the pastors who are really connected with the Trump administration, they probably got the inside scoop on this, and they got to add it to their Sunday morning sermons, which, goodness gracious, I mean, hello, that's pretty good sermon right there. But of course, Pete Hegseth getting to deliver that sermon on Easter Sunday to the rest of the world. And look, I mean, pretty powerful thing, pretty powerful narrative, pretty powerful presentation to make. Of course, we've got all these new Christians. We got the cultural Christians. We got the longtime Christians. I see Gonz's video turned off there. I don't know if he'll be back or if he's just fixing something, but we'll keep going. All getting to get this poetic, this religious, this uplifting, this very hopeful, this victorious story on Resurrection Day. Now, of course, Resurrection Day, really the number one celebration of victory in Christendom, in the Christian world. It's Jesus's victory over death, victory over sin. It is like V-Day. Resurrection is victory day as far as the cosmology of Christianity is concerned. And so, during this time of war, where even Trump supporters, even people who formerly were, voted for him, all these things are starting to question, what are we doing? We're losing this war. We're losing this, that. This is so bad. It's going so horribly. I can't believe Trump did this. I can't believe anybody ever liked him. I certainly never did. I voted for him twice, but I can't believe anybody would actually elect this guy. You get this story right in the midst of the bad news, all the bad news about Iran. You get this story of victory. I mean, and goodness gracious, couldn't come it came in the nick of time. We're coming up on a deadline on a Trump threat. It was today. It's now tomorrow, threatening to glass the whole thing, seeming kind of desperate. This doesn't seem like a very good sign, but yet we get this story of victory. Very powerful time. The choices, it's just so amazing how the perfect narrative of victory in Iran, U.S. military victory, just happened to come on the most important day of victory, especially for Christians and, of course, American Christians as well. Big day. It's just amazing how God works like that, doesn't it, Gons?
Yeah, I mean, the timing is just impeccable. I'm curious, by the way, my camera, I don't know what's going on with the camera today. It's just not working.
Okay.
So no camera. But yeah, I'm wondering if, Peter Hegseth, I don't know, maybe denied Trump before the rooster. Yeah, no, not pizza, but Pentagon Pete, Peter Hegseth, denied Trump.
Thomas.
No, Peter denied Trump, not Trump, denied Christ 3 times before the rooster crowed in the morning.
You're right.
Yeah. This is, but maybe he, but on Resurrection Sunday, Peter was the first one. All the disciples were like, I don't know about these women telling the story of Jesus's tomb is empty. Okay, whatever, ladies, go back to whatever. But Peter was the only one that ran to the tomb and, made sure that to go find out the truth of whether his Lord and Savior resurrected. So there's something powerful about Peter Hegseth delivering this message as well. So what was that? Sorry.
Well, I think John ran to the tomb as well.
Okay, well,
he bragged about being faster.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's him and Simon Peter who went running to the tomb. Anywho, we can get our Easter details. Everybody's brushing up on their Easter details.
Exactly.
So, yes. So there you go. I mean, just incredible how the timing of this story perfectly fit the Resurrection Sunday thing. And, that that's good enough for a lot of people, right? We're living our lives, we're spending time with family, we're not necessarily following every single little detail of this operation. Of course, the military details of the operation, I mean, all the details. You got to remember, this is a time of war. Anything and everything you hear, all the details, how many planes went down, how many planes didn't go down, what those planes were doing, were they actually there for a rescue mission, were they doing something else? You don't follow that stuff. It's Easter, you're busy, okay? You're busy with church. And so you really just get this nice summary. After church, after brunch, you go home, you see the news. Wow, what an amazing story. Now, the details, if you were watching them live, do start to get a little foggy. And
fog of war.
This is 5th generation warfare, so we know the real war is in the narrative, is in the minds of the public, and it is delivered in all sorts of very sneaky, interesting ways. So one of the details of the story was that an F-15E went down, a plane, this fighter plane. An F-15E has 2 pilots. One is the pilot, another is the weapons coordinator, the target fellow or gal. That was another weird part of the story as it rolled out, because there's all these news agencies who kept saying, this airman is down and he's lost and we're looking for him. We just say airman, but it could have been a woman, okay? So don't think it's a man just because
or air robot.
It could have been an air woman, an air robot.
They
just kept stumbling over themselves, and it's like nobody. Everybody's like,
of course, yeah.
Now, and very interesting comment from Trump here. Let's play this clip, and we'll get into the details of why he's given us this speech.
These 2 extraordinary rescues, because it was 2, and as you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour. Then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker, and talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out, because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do, because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life. And it also made it much more difficult for the pilots and for the people going in to search for him. All of a sudden, they know that there's somebody out there. They see all these planes coming in. It became a much more difficult operation, because a leaker leaked that we have one, we've rescued one, but there's another one out there that we're trying to get. So actually, the country, Iran, put out a major notice, you all saw it, offering a very big award for anybody that captures the pilot. So in addition to a hostile, very talented, very good, very evil military, we had millions of people trying to get an award. So when you add that to it, but we have to find that leaker, because that's a sick person. Probably didn't realize the extent of how bad it was. I can't imagine that the person did, but we're going to find out. It's national security, and the person that did the story will go to jail if he doesn't say, and that doesn't last long. And I think everybody would understand it. They put this mission at great risk. They put that man at great risk, and they put the hundreds of people that went in looking for him, because everyone now knows that we're going in.
the giga leak.
It's a little, yeah, it's a little bit like labyrinthian explanation by Trump here, because that's kind of just how he is. He's kind of freewheeling it. But the story is this: on Friday, when the plane went down, we lost two. We not lost, but 2 pilots ejected. One of the pilots was recovered pretty quickly, but there was a second pilot who they couldn't find. Now, according to Trump, they were keeping this secret, and they didn't want anybody to know that there was still a pilot on the ground, which is believable, pretty obvious why you wouldn't want the Iranian military to know. But according to him, someone in an unnamed news agency wrote up the story that there was still a pilot on the ground, which told the Iranians that there was a pilot to go find. And then the Iranians, not just the military, go looking for the pilot, but that they put out an award. And there's all these videos of, of the whole operation is very interesting. There's angle after angle after angle of, junky cell phone footage of Iranians in the desert, like watching the planes fly by. And I mean, who knows if it's all the same thing, but that was, as the narrative was unfolding, we kept getting to watch cell phone footage of Iranians apparently out there in the desert watching it happen. So we have Trump on the hunt for a source, and they're threatening through national security reasons to send people to jail, to shut down this news agency until they, get the information. Now, again, remember, this is all just story. Now, this is giving the impression that the government did not want the information about the pilot out. And we're going to take some swings to the left and to the right, back and forth. Remember, through the whole thing, we can never know what the actual truth is. So Trump is trying to give us the impression that the idea that there was a pilot on the ground to be found was against their wishes. Okay. And so we don't know. He's not telling us even what the news agency is. He's not telling us who wrote this story. He's not referring to it. But this is the narrative that is getting laid out. Now, if we go to ABC, ABC wrote an article yesterday on Sunday, how the rescue of the second F-15 airman in Iran unfolded. And it tells the whole story, and the details of the story aren't the most important thing. The plane went down, one pilot was rescued, then they couldn't find the guy. The guy was in a cave. He activated his transponder. They found him. And then there was this whole story of how they flew multiple planes in, established an airstrip in the desert, landed a few planes, offloaded. So this whole big operation, including, about a dozen different aircraft to come rescue the guy, the gal. They got him. They left. They had to leave behind 2 C-130 aircraft, big, huge cargo planes that landed in the desert. They got stuck in the mud. They had to incinerate those planes. Okay, whatever. They blew up the planes. This whole big, complicated story about how they got out there. But at the end of the story, it says the CIA also played a role in the rescue of the second F-15E crew member, a senior administration official told ABC. Okay, so the CIA also helped in rescuing the pilot. Let's see how the CIA helped. Before the downed airman was located and rescued, the official said, the CIA, quote, launched a deception campaign spreading word inside Iran that U.S. forces had already found him and were moving him on the ground for exfiltration out of the country. The agency helped pinpoint the airman's location, according to the official, who called it the ultimate, quote, needle in a haystack, to find the airman inside a mountain crevice. That information was then passed onto the Pentagon and the White House to launch the rescue operation, the official said. Quote, the president ordered an immediate rescue mission, which the DOW executed with boldness and precision, with CIA continuing to provide real-time information, the official added. So they tell this story about the CIA helping out in a couple different ways, but one of them was narrative control. And in their words, a deception campaign. Now, keep in mind, we're all aware of the CIA's ability to run deception campaigns.
They don't still do that, do they?
Num, 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 num. And in this case, the claim is that their deception campaign was to tell Iran that the pilot was already gone, right? They didn't mention, and maybe it's look, part of the ways that we look at the news on a daily basis is through the eyes of deception campaigns. It's wartime.
Right.
Almost any information you're going to get is a deception campaign. The CIA, of course, running deception campaigns for many, many years. Smith Modernization Act is all about, intelligence agencies getting to deliver deception campaigns to the American people, circumventing the laws that formerly said they couldn't do that. This is what they do. They do deception campaigns. That's what they do. Now, they're giving us one angle of this, which was to lie to the Iranian people to say the pilot's already rescued by land, so maybe send them looking in the wrong direction. Who knows? That's the claim. But keep in mind, it is fifth generation warfare. The very idea that I don't know, the pilot was there or wasn't there could all be part of the deception campaign.
I mean, the whole onion is a deception. I would say. So there's no way for us to really know if this is a cover story. Maybe there was a leaker and the CIA is covering for the leaker. Maybe, and by the way, they say this was spread, the deception campaign was spread inside Iran. But, I was trying my best not to pay attention to everything going on with the World War III stuff over the weekend because it was Easter weekend. But I did notice on my timeline, a lot of people say, we got him, we rescued him. And this is not for Saturday night. This is like Friday night or Saturday morning, hey, we got him out of there. We found him, da-da-da. And then Iranian public accounts saying, oh, he's dead. Look at this picture. There's a skull in this picture, graphic images of the crash site of the thing. So everybody was spreading some kind of information at that time. But I did see a lot of people pick up on he's saved. They already got him. They got him out of there, which means if this report from ABC News is true, which of course we have to be skeptical of every angle here. But if it is true that they ran a deception campaign, it was not just in Iran. It was on the timeline of X.
They would have to do it.
They would have to do it there. They would need
on X.
Right. They would have to, because for Iranian officials, if we're talking about a geopolitical, tactic here, then you would need to have American influencers on X report that they already rescued the guy. They got him. So that the Iranian officials say, oh, well, they got him. We're wasting our time, wasting resources looking for the guy when there maybe was a second guy they're looking for. Whatever the thing is, if that narrative is true. But my thing is that I don't like the fact that, they're admitting that they're basically admitting that they used us, the American public as part of the deception.
Yeah, right. Because Iran has X, and if they're spreading a deception campaign within Iran that the guy's saved or that he's not there or that he is there, they would have to do it through American influencers, through the American algo. They didn't just take an ad out in the Iranian, newspaper that there was, that the guy had been rescued. They would have to have done it through American sources, which is just sort of a reverse play of the Smith Modernization Act, where the Smith Modernization Act legalized propaganding the American people. Specifically, now it's developed now, but specifically at the time, was the CIA could lie to the Americans by putting a story in, say, the Hindustan Times, and then the American media can quote the Hindustan Times. So they're not directly lying to Americans, they're lying to Hindustan Times, and then the American media picks that up and lies to the American people. This is kind of in reverse, in that they can kind of influence the algorithms. They can have some influencers or X accounts kind of put out these theories or these ideas, and then it infiltrates Iran through that as
the timeline instead of Hindustan Times or something. I published this post on X when I learned about this deception campaign. I said, So they flooded the timeline with the fake story that he was already rescued so we can participate in a deception campaign so that the guy can get rescued. I feel so used and patriotic at the same time. The mixed emotions are crazy right now.
Yeah, and
that's how I felt. I was like, wait a minute, they used us, but also this is for the, you know, the airmen over there. I mean, okay, like I felt very mixed. I felt and I had the emotional damage guy, you know, the emotional damage or emotional trauma.
And it goes to the point that you pointed out years ago, which is in the ongoing dance between mainstream media, independent media, alternative media. You know, people obviously feel much more confident in getting news from their timeline, getting news from TikTok because, it's not the establishment. But we have here the example of how individuals talking about news or spreading stories or, you know, the citizen journalists are a much easier way to control people's opinions and ideas about what's going on just through the algorithms, right? And especially during wartime, more people than ever are, you know, of course, distrusting Fox and CNN and the official narrative. And most people are getting their war news from X. And this is basically just an outright admission that all the places you're getting your news from on X are subject to the same deception campaigns. And not, I mean, you can, obviously there's reasons to feel negative about that. But in this case, they're basically bragging like, thank you, everyone who spread our disinfo on X.
Here's not your paycheck. Here's
your patriotic duty by spreading our disinfo campaign.
Yeah. Well,
now, one of those, a part of that was this storyline here.
Yes.
This was floating around all over the place. You found a strange outlet here who put it
together. Well, Inside Paper, another, interestingly enough, an outlet or an account on X that is pretty large and, you know, it's not the most trustworthy per se, but they did report it with a headline. So we brought it here. It's Iran says U.S. airman rescue may have been cover to steal enriched uranium.
Yeah. Now listen to where the source is. So the story about no. All of this whole story about the pilot and the rescue is all fake. It was just cover for an operation to steal Iran's uranium, giving a reason why and how America needed to fly in 12 planes, land in the desert, deploy troops. It wasn't to rescue an airman. It was to do something else.
Right. Look something up real quick here as I read this. Oh, okay. So it says here, Iran's foreign ministry said on Monday that a U.S. operation to rescue a downed airman may have been a cover story or a cover to, quote, steal enriched uranium from the Islamic Republic. On Sunday, President Donald Trump in the U.S. recovered a second crew member of an F-15E that went down over Iran on Friday in what he called a daring search and rescue operation. Iran's military has called it, quote, a deception and escape mission, insisting it was, quote, completely foiled.
Oh,
yeah.
So
okay.
Iran's foreign ministry, and this is important because it's Iran's foreign ministry who is running all the counter narrative to Trump's narrative, right? When Trump says, oh, they want to make a deal, it's the foreign ministry that says, no, we never said we want to make a deal. And then ABC, CNN, all right. Oh, they said they didn't want to make a deal. When Trump says, you know, we won
the war. It's over.
Troop. It's Iran's foreign ministry that says, no, you have lost troops. So they're running this constant counter narrative. Anything the Trump administration says, it's the foreign ministry who says the opposite. Now, in this case, it's interesting because they even mention Iran's military has called it a deception and escape mission, insisting that it was completely foiled. So remember, the CIA said it ran a deception campaign to convince the Iranians of something else. And you have the Iranians saying, no, this wasn't a rescue. This was to steal our uranium. Well, which is it? Do they think it was to steal the uranium because the CIA ran a deception campaign to convince them that it was to steal uranium? Did that help did that help them rescue the person, or did the person never exist? And was it just about uranium? It's just this beautiful web of unfalsifiable deception campaigns going back and forth. I mean, because I have, and you know me, folks, I am happy to give the CIA credit when they deserve credit, okay? And in this case, they deserve a lot of credit for whatever their deception campaign is on Iran, whatever their deception campaign is on us. It is so masterfully crafted that there's nobody knows what's going on. And I mean, that would be the best. Like if the CIA is working at top capacity, if they are like nailing it, it probably wasn't a rescue campaign, and it probably wasn't a uranium stealing mission. It was probably some totally third thing.
The Stargate. They found the Stargate. They had to recover one of the crystals that will open up the Stargate or something.
They found the tomb of Gilgamesh. They were exfiltrating Nephilim bodies or something.
Right, exactly.
Probably what it was. But it's, well, we may never know what it is. I mean, the fact that the narrative about the rescue is so perfect, so timely, so patriotic, so Christian, so Christian nationalist, so everything. I mean, it just screams not true, right? I mean, it's too perfect. Like
it's too perfect.
The cosmology of it, the religious experience of it, the even kind of plays into this religious war kind of thing. It's good for morale in the United States. Like it's too good to assume that it's true. And then on the other hand, you have the Iranians just on a completely other wavelength.
Well, this would be, if it were true that it was a uranium extraction event, because of course, history tells us that America lost a bunch of uranium. What was it? The 1960s? I believe it was like the Nuclear Materials and Equipment Corporation plant in Apollo, Pennsylvania. Lost like 100 pounds of uranium or something like that. It's never been accounted for. It's never been accounted for. So if it was like hey, that's ours, get it back, and Iran did fall for some, misdirection by the CIA, and they lost the uranium, they would lose all of any kind of narrative power in terms of, the threat of some kind of nuclear weapons development or something like that. So they can't say they actually lost it. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so confusing, but I'm just saying there is some precedent in terms of missing uranium in the United States, maybe wanting to get it back. But I agree with you that there's just no way to know exactly what happened here.
So the whole point of mapping this out, because I know, a lot of people will tune in to say, okay, I'm going to find out what's really happening. Tell me really what's happening.
Impossible.
My news anchor said this, my pastor said this, but Basil Gans, tell me what really happened. And what I'm here to tell you is that remember, the whole thing is theater, okay? You're going to be tempted to want to latch on to one of these narratives as the truth. You're going to have incentives to latch on to any one of these narratives in different ways, and you're going to crave to understand what's actually to be right. Whether it's your friend or your family member, they believe the wrong thing, I believe the right thing, this kind of thing. But the real win here, and the only way to really come out on top, is to use this opportunity to detach from wanting to know the real story and know that it's the journey that they're taking you on that is the true sort of mission. That's what they want. They want to take you on this journey.
Wonderful movie. We're at the good part. We're just getting to the good part.
Watch it like it's a movie, right? Just watch it. You don't watch Marvel and say, wow, I can't believe this really happened in real life. No, watch it like it's a movie, because that's what it is. And when you do that, you can enjoy each one of the different storylines, and you can kind of map out how each one benefits somebody, and it helps you kind of trace all the storylines basically to the same writer. when you're watching the different perspectives in a movie, right? Especially recently, you're watching Marvel, it'll give you the perspective of the good guys. And then you get the perspective of Thanos, who's just like trying to help the world by depopulating. And they're like, you're seeing all the different perspectives of the same story that's going on. But it's all written by the screenwriter.
Right.
In the similar way here, you see, the Iranians think that it was uranium getting stolen. Oh, America gets this beautiful resurrection story. Which one's true? No. They're two different perspectives being told by the same screenwriter, much like how we saw Mossad on 60 Minutes come out and say, all the world's a stage. We write every global thing. We star in it. We produce it. We direct it all. In the same way, American intelligence, and I'm sure Mossad had a lot to do with a lot of this stuff.
Oh, that's we're not supposed to know any of that, though. That's just a joke. That's a funny joke. I will say, as you go into this next little part of the thing here, part of what the narrative also has been, I have this Reuters headline. Trump says Iran could be taken out on Tuesday. Hegseth says major strike to come. A lot of we're going to take you back to the Stone Ages. We're going to flatten you guys. Yeah, a lot of nuke talk. So I mean, obviously the prayer with all of this, because I agree with you, obviously 100% that the narrative craft and the storytelling and everything is something to pay attention to, not to get lost in it and realizing that they are crafting narratives through all of this. But there are people getting hurt or losing lives and stuff like that. And so my only prayer is that we don't have that. You know what I mean? I don't want people becoming collateral damage because some guy decided to some CIA op decided to run a deception campaign. And, some people get trampled over or something because there's an award out for finding this missing airman or something like that in Iran.
Well, unfortunately,
those are unfortunate. Yeah, it's an unfortunate part of this whole situation. But in terms of the narrative craft for the rest of us, yes, this is you gotta just be able to set aside this desire to know exactly what's going on, because there's no way for us to really know, and
it's so free.
Okay with that.
Trust me. Look, I've been talking about on Clubhouse for a couple months now. Look, they're going to ramp up the stakes as high as they can. We're going to be working with absolutely apocalyptic stakes. Okay. And just the second you think that they can't ramp the stakes up anymore, they're going to do it. It's going to go full apocalypse on the stakes. We've seen that. But again, it's uncomfortable at first, and longtime Canarians will know this, and they'll be on the other side of it. People who are new to the show might still be kind of figuring this out in themselves. It can be really stressful being told, no, it's not about knowing the correct storyline. It's you just stop grasping for what's the most objective truth, because that's part of what they want you to do. It's a never-ending cycle. It'll keep you stressed. It'll keep you freaked out. But there's definitely a peace in understanding that anything that you are told from any of these human outlets is just another part of the screenplay, and you can kind of disconnect from being so invested in the real story, because of course we're setting our minds on things above. We are aligning ourselves with Christ to try to experience and align with the mind of Christ, and focus on the eternal, and these sorts of things. And it's required. What we're talking about here is required, sort of setting yourself free from having sort of the puppet strings of the narrative crafters on you. So, great to see in a few of these different pieces of the narrative building up to appreciate just how expert the CIA is at running these kinds of ops, these newfangled fifth generation warfare ops that we're seeing. They're expert at it. But there was a mention of some good old-fashioned CIA operations, okay? A throwback to some old-school CIA ops. Here is, I was going to skip this clip here, Gons. Let's go to the Trump one. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's Trump giving us some old school CIA operation going wrong here.
they don't have guns. You know, we sent some guns, but the group that was supposed to give, which I said would happen to my people, I said it, I called it exactly. We sent guns, a lot of guns. They were supposed to go to the people so they could fight back against these thugs. You know what happened? The people that they sent them to kept them because they said, what a beautiful gun, I think I'll keep it. So I'm very upset with a certain group of people, and they're going to pay a big price for that. But the Iranian people will fight back as soon as they know they're not going to be shot and as soon as they can get weapons. If they had weapons.
Beautiful. So in case you couldn't catch it, folks, Trump's referring to the fact that America, in classic fashion,
Classic CIA op,
sent a bunch of guns to, you could call them the rebels, arming rebel factions, arming the people of Iran, because of course,
the dissidents.
We don't want boots on the grounds. We'd prefer that Iranian dissidents take over the government themselves. And so for decades and decades and decades, the CIA and the US in many forms gives guns to rebel groups. They did it to the Kurds. We did it to ISIS. We did it to Al-Qaeda. We're giving people guns all the time. And what happens so often is that the guns never actually make it to where they need to go. And in this case, it was a great reflection of what happened in Ukraine, right? We send all these weapons, we send all these guns, we send all these missiles to support the war in Ukraine. Turns out about only a third of those actually made it to the Ukrainian government. The rest get stolen by arms dealers and then get sold to African groups, that get sold to Middle Eastern groups. So well, it's good to know that even while the newfangled sort of mind control operations from the CIA are still rolling, that they're still sending guns to rebels, and those guns are still showing up. You know,
I like how Trump's sort of description of when the Iranian people will rise up. It's like when they know they won't get shot, they'll rise up against the Iranian government. It's like, well,
and
okay, when is that? When is it going to be when they know they're not going to get shot at? That's an interesting, standard for a rebellion or revolution that he's trying to stoke from the people of Iran.
There's something so like cosmically hilarious too that he's being interviewed at some sort of event, and there's like elevator jazz music in the background, like here we go again. The CIA sending guns to rebels. Surely this will not backfire.
They did it wrong though. Like, I want to know what the plan was. I want to know the details of this plan, because normally, to get it into the hands of the insurgents, quote unquote, I was air quoting. I don't have the camera on right now, but usually it happens that you're sending it to a different place. You get U.S. military abandoning stations, and that's how the guns get to the people.
To do it.
Yeah. So if it is true that they were trying to go through the Straits of Hormuz to get, like, what was the tactic to get the guns to the Iranian people? Well, because I would imagine the Iranian government will look at these packages and be like, "Whoa, nice guns!"
They certainly don't send it to you. I mean, maybe that's what this rescue was all about. Maybe the rescue was they landed all these C-130s in the desert. They were looking for somebody, but they just unloaded pallets of guns and gave them to whoever they were giving them to, or whatever. And maybe it's possible that this whole thing was just a cover up for a classic American move, which is giving guns to people in a country, hoping they do our dirty work for us.
Right.
That's totally possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you would imagine that there would be tracking going on here. This is probably how they know where the guns are, and not in the hands of
too.
Yeah. So interesting. The whole thing is very interesting. I would imagine also that the military-industrial complex in the United States are getting ready to unleash advanced weaponry with maybe some advanced technology, and I'm sure that's why we're hearing all this UFO talk and all that kind of stuff that has been part of the conversation here. It's not just a distraction. It all connects. It all connects to the bigger picture. But there is something else, Basil. We're talking about the CIA and narrative craft. And it's a real sad day, actually, for the CIA, because according to AP, Eulogy for the CIA Factbook. Very sad day. The first, or the free standard for world facts, long an educational staple, is gone. It's gone. It's over. I was a sociology major in college, so I'm almost certain I interacted with the World Factbook. I do recall some of it in elementary school and in college. It says here, if you attended school anytime after the Nixon administration, then you likely beheld at some point the CIA World Factbook, a map of reference manual of a map and a reference manual of planet Earth and its inhabitants, upon which nearly everyone could agree. I love that. It's like, everyone agreed with these facts, okay? We published it. The CIA published the fact book because these are facts and no one can dispute.
Yeah, well, I mean, it shows you one of the primary jobs of the CIA, which always has been, and we just covered some of the newfangled ways they do it now. But yeah, they basically held the book of knowledge. It was their project to put the fact book, which was like the ultimate Bible of consensus reality, right? It was the one location that anybody could go to get the facts about any thing. And there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of history, a lot of just data about things. There was lots of course, I don't know what you would consider, well, again, the sort of arbiters of truth, and that was their job for a very long time.
I like the way they describe it here. It does touch on some nostalgia for me. I don't know about you, Basil, but it says here, maybe you read parts of it from a floppy disk or a CD-ROM for that social studies project due tomorrow, or scanned its list of countries for Latvia, because that is the country you were representing next week in Model UN. Even better, you wandered the earth in your imagination as you held the physical fact book in your own hands, unfolding its maps and understanding, perhaps for the first time, that the thumbs-up gesture your friends flash each other is considered an obscene insult in parts of the Middle East, Europe, and Argentina. Who knew the fact book and its readers did for more than 6 decades? Its authors, some of the world's best intelligence gatherers, who contributed thousands of their own photos, kept the curated database updated and online for public usage at no charge. The reasons stated were geopolitical and philosophical. But since we're talking about facts, it is also true that the fact book went public in 1975 with lofty statements of purpose at a time when Congress was revealing abuses by U.S. intelligence agencies, including the CIA. Quote, "We share these facts with people of all nations in the belief that knowledge of the truth underpins the functioning of free societies," the CIA itself explained in its pages. The spy agency is not sharing them anymore. On February 2nd, the Trump administration abruptly shuttered this widely accepted account of humanity and its flags, nations, customs, militaries, and borders. The CIA framed the move as one of progress for an agency whose core mission has changed. Their core mission has changed, Basil. What is it? What did it change to? A great wave of grief rose from Factbook fans. You mean current CIA people? Many said they mourned an America that valued knowledge for its own sake. Some saw darker forces at work under a president whose administration has promoted, in times of war and peace, quote, alternative facts. Quote, stay curious, the CIA advised in its fond farewell to the fact book.
Yeah, which is
it goes into the origin story, which we don't have to get into, but I just think it's hilarious that they're, I don't know, the arrogance, the hubris of like, well, we were the arbiters of facts and you no longer want that, so farewell, stay curious, everybody.
Well, it shows
As
that
if
one of their primary missions was even going back to 1975, and they put it out in 1975 to justify their existence.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
we record all of consensus reality. If you want to know what is true, here it is. You have access to it whenever you want, and we are the arbiters of it.
Oh, they must have been able to gather how the internet would work at that point, even like how would the population react to some line of truth that is supposedly the only basis.
The point being that has been their mission for a very long time, was to control reality. And now, we're in this weird time where it's funny because I bet most people didn't even know about the fact book. Most people probably listening to this are hearing
Let us know,
about it for the
chat.
first time
I wanna know.
because it's so irrelevant, really, not because the CIA no longer controls consensus reality, but that they control it because they control the media, because they control Wikipedia. I mean, Wikipedia was basically supposed to be an open source fact book where reality is not controlled by the CIA, but that it is controlled by users online. And we've documented for a very long time that CIA long ago took over Wikipedia, took over the the arbiter of truthiness that was Wikipedia. And so it's interesting because taking down the fact book itself really isn't that big of a deal. Again, most people didn't know about it, but it was this sort of totem or this manifestation, almost like this grimoire of narrative crafting sort of magic, that was maybe more of a symbol in recent years, but it stood as a symbol to the CIA's long-standing mission, which was to be the arbiter of truth. Now, taking it down, maybe that's just a symbolic thing. Taking it down, probably just because nobody cares about it or uses it. Anyways, like controls everything online. Who knows what the thing is, but again, like so many of the things we've pointed out today, it is just this glaring signal of what one of, if not the primary job of the CIA was to do, which is to craft narrative, like to craft, to control reality.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. If you go to the CIA.gov, they got a whole page about the World Factbook that was renamed World Factbook in 1981. I'm sure that was for PR purposes. I don't think CIA Factbook was really popular even at that time. And so, you summarized it well. It says here, and so before there was Wikipedia to search on, before there was Bing to consult, and most certainly before Google became a verb, there was CIA's World Factbook. It's been a resource used by presidents, by warfighters, and by the world's greatest scholars. It is used in times of crisis, in times of uncertainty, in times of peace, and in times of war. It is an authoritative source of basic intelligence that has and will continue to be an essential part of CIA's legacy. So yes, there you go. They've moved on to something else, I think is what it is. They don't need the fact book anymore. They got algo work to
everything.
Get done.
Yeah,
they got everything.
And the real most recent version of this just is AI, right? People are using, we'll get into this in second half of show, but AI is the new sort of controller of consensus reality. And CIA has a direct line to controlling all of that too. So a fact book on floppy disks and even a website is totally useless when compared to the new arbiter of reality, which is AI.
Right. Well, there's it's the reversed course. It's CIA, and now they're reversing. It's AI. What is C? What will the C be? Basil, over the weekend, had a dishwasher replacement at my house over here, and had my brother-in-law come over, and he occasionally listens to the show. So what's up, James, if you're listening? But he pulled out his phone. He said, I was listening to this podcast, and I said, let me guess. Let me just guess who this podcast is it Sean Ryan? And he's like, yeah, it's Sean Ryan. I was listening to Sean Ryan. I said, of course it's Sean Ryan, because why not? Everyone's listening to Sean Ryan these days. No one listens to Canary Cry Radio or Canary Cry News Talk. They've all been, all their attention has been hijacked by the CIA podcasting industry.
It's the CIA podcaster extraordinaire. He brags.
Yes, he's one of the top guys. So Sean Ryan said on April 1st, which he claims this was not an April Fool's joke here, but here's what he said.
real quick, because
Yeah.
before you reveal the punchline, just in case
Uh-huh.
there's anybody new here and you're wondering why we're calling Sean Ryan CIA, he
yeah.
admits and brags about his
Yeah, yeah.
connections to the CIA, a former intelligence contractor. He says he talks to the CIA all the time. And on his website,
Yeah,
what did he say about the CIA on his website?
I have all that as part
You
of
have
my
all
thing
that.
here.
So
Yeah.
this is well known. This is not a conspiracy theory. He brags about it's well known that he is actively integrated with CIA personnel, and he was an intelligence contractor, the whole thing. And
Right.
and the irony of that is that to some people that gives him all the credibility. So because of his connection with the controllers of reality and information, that means you can believe everything he says, not the opposite.
Right. Now, if you go to the Sean Ryan website, the Vigilance Elite website, there is a tab for advertise. And you can go in there and you can submit your little thing to, hey, like we want to advertise on the Sean Ryan show. Okay. So this is like a thing that you can do. You can partner with the Sean Ryan show, get your message out there. Now, as part of this, Sean Ryan said on April 1st, never thought I'd see the CIA looking to advertise with the @Sean Ryan show, ... And no, this isn't an April Fool's joke with a laughing emoji.
You never thought the CIA would want to advertise on your show.
And he's got a screenshot and it says CIA plus the Sean Ryan show. And it looks like the other side of the little, form you fill out there on the website. And, this says advertiser, CIA, website, cia.gov/careers. Description: we are an agency defined by our mission, values, and people. Together, we accomplish what others cannot accomplish and go where others cannot go. When you're a part of the nation's premier intelligence agency, your opportunities for personal and professional growth are endless. Now, it could be a troll. Anybody can fill out this form and send it to the Sean Ryan show. So I don't know if it's really the CIA or somebody just trolling the Sean Ryan show with it. But why would Sean Ryan screenshot it and post it on his social media?
It's revelation method.
Yeah, if it wasn't an April Fool's joke.
Revelation of the method. And here's why, again, in case anybody's new to the show. We don't advertise. We've never advertised, and we eschew advertising. And it's not just because listening to advertisements are annoying, but advertising, not only does it have long-standing occult, psychological, social engineering, and government roots, the very foundation of advertising is specifically mind control to create consent, to guide behavior, and to control population. It's not just to sell products. Selling the products is a side benefit. But it goes back to Edward Bernays, who was in that sort of occulty, esoteric group in the mid and early 19th century. He was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. He used a mixture of the occults and Sigmund Freud's psychological tactics to create propaganda. He later called propaganda public relations, which later got incorporated advertising, et cetera, et cetera. We talk about subliminal messages and the occult in advertisements and media. Turns out Edward Bernays' nephew was one of the founders of Netflix.
Speaking of Netflix, let me just check in on the moon. Okay, so there,
see if there's anything exciting. So not only is there a physical heritage going from one of the more evil mind control companies, Netflix, to Edward Bernays, the creator of advertising, to Sigmund Freud, the pedophile occultist who invented modern psychology. Not just the physical ancestry, but the spiritual ancestry of that just makes advertising a little bit distasteful for us here on this show and to our people. Not to mention that advertising is specifically us, the creators of a show, saying whatever needs to be said over and over to collect the time and the attention and the trust of, in Sean Ryan's case, millions and millions of people through the using of credentialism with his access to CIA. So gather as much people to believe you as possible. And then you are selling their time, their attention, and their consciousness to a corporation, in this case, the CIA, for your own personal gain. It's sort of the most modern version of like the slave trade as you could possibly imagine. And yeah, you know, look, I get it. People got to make money. We have friends who advertise, and you got to do what you got to do. But for us, it's just a little bit too uncomfortable knowing the roots that we know. And so, very specifically, look, the CIA could be funding Sean Ryan in all sorts of ways. I'm not claiming that they are, but they could if they wanted to. But
they can give a little algo boost if anything else.
They can do whatever
they don't have
want.
to have direct.
It doesn't matter. They could benefit him in any way that he wants. I'm not making that claim, but it's totally possible. But to straight up have an advertisement like the official, why is there advertising for big pharma on TV? It's not because you see an advertisement for a drug and then you go ask your doctor for that drug. No, they pay the 70% of mainstream media's bills are paid by big pharma advertising, not because they can sell drugs, but because they are buying the compliance and the silence. Because once you start taking money for advertising from a company, you have to stay brand friendly. You can't talk bad about that company. So the CIA, specifically funding through advertising, it's almost worse than just having them drop off pallets of cash. You know, you are explicitly entering in a contract with them to not say anything bad about them, because once you get on that advertising bottle, once you get on the formula, the baby formula of advertising, it's very difficult to get off, because that's just a bunch of money that's right out the window. And so I don't know if this is a troll or not. It doesn't, like, it's not funny. Again, if somebody was doing it as a joke, like it makes total sense that the CIA would advertise their careers program. You know, it's a it's a recruitment ad is what it is. And if any of these shows, these independent media, alternative media, right-wing shows are going to encourage people to join the CIA, it's going to be Sean Ryan's, because he's got all sorts of nice things to say about them.
And here's the other thing to keep in mind too. And I expressed this in the short conversation I was able to have with my brother-in-law, but I don't know if it really communicated everything that I would have liked to communicate with the thought, which is, go listen to Sean Ryan. He has guests on that have covered a lot of topics that we've covered.
Disclosure is there, baby.
Oh, no, the topics are, the topics are interesting, that you're going to learn about some new things maybe that you've never heard of, or angles you've never thought of, or whatever. So you're going to get some of that, but from somebody who, or you and I, Basil, and a lot of the Canarians out there who have been in this, I guess, genre or whatever you want to call it for well over a decade at this point, we kind of knew that this type of thing was going to happen. And one of the big signals to me was when they pulled the movie The Minds of Men off of Amazon. That's Truth Stream Media, Mel and Aaron over there. They have a movie called The Minds of Men, and they took it off of Amazon. It was a self-publishing type of platform, but they took it down. And a few months later, there was some guy that wrote secret mind experiments, the MK Ultra, and it got published on New York Times and all this kind of stuff. And it was apparent then that these folks don't want random researchers to present this information. They want a controlled trickle out type of distribution of this information, because they can control the narrative better. They can systematize things. They can time things. There's a lot more control of the narrative if they do it their way than just some random rogue researcher figuring it out for themselves. And it's kind of like the technology stuff. We have all this free technology rumors, but you figure out a car engine that runs on water and all of a sudden you get disappeared. But, in a few years from now, they might be like, hey, look, we figured out the water car engine. It's much more efficient or whatever. And of course, somebody's going to make $1 trillion from it or something. So, there's profit stuff, but it's also controlled. And everything. The timing is everything, and
which has always been our problem.
It's been our problem.
We're way too early. We're way too early to be allowed to get where the others get to get, because it doesn't matter if you're right. You got to be right at the right time to be allowed to do it. So yes, Sean Ryan always been sort of a bit of a I don't want to say he's a joke, but it's been a joke since
it's been a joke on this show anyway. Yeah. And again,
out of nowhere instantly with 3 million followers without anybody having heard of him before.
I did respond to this thread, Basil. I said, but I thought, and then I took the screenshot of Sean Ryan, his own bio on his website that says CIA contractor with 14 years of service, spanning multiple combat operations.
That's who he is. He's a CIA guy. So that's what he gets. So the good news is, Gons, is that, the good news is hopefully Sean Ryan gets a nice big paycheck. The other good news is it's another confirmation for us from the Holy Spirit that the value for value model is, in our case, the only way to continue to do what we do, to be able to say what we say when we say it, without being influenced by the outside forces that so expertly guide the controlled narrative. And it's because we're on the value for value model. We don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, governments, the CIA, any advertisers, sponsors, platform partnerships, none of that. We are entirely sustained and supported by our producers. And our producers are you, dear listener, dear viewer. The value for value model is an opportunity for all of us to step away from the system that requires that we participate in some sort of weird modern mind slavery for those who gain our attention and our trust, and we give so much of our life to, listening to, and watching as they sell us to corporations for their own personal gain. But instead, the alternative to that is we are given the opportunity to take our own responsibility for what brings value into our own lives and support it with value. And value is not just money, but you can support the show with your time, your talent, your treasure. You can go to canarycry.support to learn more all about it. That's right. If you go over to canarycry.support, you can support the show in all sorts of ways. One of those ways is with your treasure. Support us financially, of course. Unfortunately, in this system, it is very important to be able to keep things running around here. If you come in, support the show with any amount, maybe you sign up on any of our monthly options. You can pick your own number. Just go to the Lord and let the Lord give you a number, whatever is meaningful to you, whatever expresses the value you get from the show. We have options, various monthly options, like our Canary Supply Drop or our T-shirt council, that you can join a handful of other producers who get the cool benefits that come from those things. You can come support with a one-time producership in any amount that you'd like. But if that amount is over $100 or $100 or more for any individual episode, such as this one, then we get to call you an executive producer, Gons. And we got a couple executive producers I'd like to thank here right now. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Okay. I want to start out by thanking executive producer Sir Jamie, not the Lannister.
Sir Jamie. Thank you, Sir Jamie.
Thank you, Sir Jamie. Comes in for a nice round number. And if you're new, when you support the show and you come in with a nice round number on the 10 or the 5, that's you letting us know you'd prefer we did not disclose the amount on the air. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount on the air, make it kind of a funky number. Put 33 cents on there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 7, 11, 11. Have some fun with the number. That's you saying that you don't mind us disclosing the amount. Like executive producer, Sir Alex Protocol V2, Baron of the Brian Protocol.
Sir Alex Protocol, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Alex Protocol. He comes in for $100 and 33 cents.
That is Illuminatus.
Illuminatus! He's been supporting the show for 476 episodes in a row.
Wow.
And officially 130 executive producerships in a row.
Record after record.
Thank you very much to both of our executive producers. I believe that is the list for today. Let's see here. Let me jump around for a second. I think, sorry, I have the wrong thing pulled up here. I'm trying to think if we should. Oh, you know what? Sir Ike sent a speak pipe. Did you grab it by chance? Do you want to go grab
I can pull it up very easily here.
While you do that, let me explain. Sir Ike just let me know today that he's running another rating and review supply drop inventory giveaway. So if you want to be eligible to win a big old box filled with awesome custom previous supply drop inventory that is just waiting for you, maybe you haven't been able to become a part of the supply drop, maybe you just want more supply drop, whatever it is, go leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcast, Audible, Spotify, wherever you can leave a rating and a review. Go do it. It helps us out a lot. But when you leave that rating and a review, screenshot the rating and review and email it to canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com. Just do it now. It's easy peasy. Again, that email is canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com. And when you do that, you will be entered into a drawing to win a supply drop mega box giveaway. And I think he's doing another one of those this Wednesday. So you got a couple of days. Don't wait.
Mega box. Here's Sir Ike.
Hey, Canary family. This is Sir Ike here. I want to let all the supply droppers know that I was able to get the supply drop process this past weekend. So it should be in the mail and ready to hit your mailboxes in the next couple days. Also, there were a couple people I've been trying to reach out who are new signer-uppers. Kurt L. and Jamie A. If you could check your emails, I am needing a shipping address for you guys. And I have your supply drops ready to go out right next to me now. So if you could check your emails and send your address to canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com, I would appreciate it. Also, to let everybody know, I'm going to be running another rating and review giveaway Wednesday. So I've had a few extra people sign up on that. I got another mega box right here next to me. There's still 2 more to go. So if you want to get in on that, just leave a rating and review on wherever you leave your ratings and reviews. Screenshot that and email it to me at canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com, and I'll get you on the list. Thanks.
There you go. Thank you very much, Sir Ike. Thank you very much to the supply droppers. Yes, make sure check your email for Canary Cry Supply Drop, see if there's anything there. And last but not least, speaking of Sir Ike, CageRattlerCoffee.com, an excellent way to participate in a parallel economy, support your fellow Canarian, support the show, and get, honestly, some of the best coffee that I've ever had. And of course, to the reviews of everybody sending us text messages and emails. You got to trust your fellow Canarians, folks. If you want the best coffee that you could possibly get, it comes from clean, GMO-free sources from all over the world. Of course, it's organic as well. And it's roasted in small batches and made available just to Canarians. You can go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. Get on in it.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. And I've just been told that they are running a celebratory baby emu hatching deal. You can use the code baby emu, all caps, baby emu when you check out. Get an extra 5% off there. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention at the top of the show, I had 3 more baby emus hatch over the weekend.
You are going to be, what's like the biggest emu wrangler out there in America?
I don't know, but
you've got to be on the list. I'm sure the list is not very long, but just, beware. One of the emus may be a spy for the CIA. So just,
yeah, well, I'm gotta hatch all these emus to train them to be my, everybody else is going to have robot dogs, or like the robot killer dogs are going to be patrolling the wasteland to sweep up all the malcontents living off the grid. But I'm raising an army of emus to fight the robot dogs. And there you go. I'll be starting training early. They'll be little ninjas.
I'm
But yeah,
surprised you haven't monetized the emus. They would make a lot of attention. I'm sure the
I
advertising
know.
platforms would love it.
I'm also surprised. Well, I'll probably have to end up selling some of these baby emus. I don't know if I'm qualified or have the infrastructure to raise 8 emus. This will be this. Well, I've got 2 already, and now I've got 4 that have hatched. That's 6, and I've got 3 more eggs that could possibly hatch any day now in the next couple of days. So yeah, we're moving and grooving. It took me 3
Emu
years.
world order.
Took me 3 years, but I finally dialed in how to actually hatch these emu eggs here. So.
I could just picture somebody, CIA guy flying over the Basil Rosewater property and seeing hundreds of emus with googly eyes, and it scrambles the cameras. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, right. Their sort of camouflage makes it look like the ground is like quaking or something. Yeah, I do have a dream or a fantasy to like have a herd of like 50 emus, and then I get myself a horse and I like gallop around in the herd of emus like across the plains. It'd be pretty cool.
I think that's that's an opening scene to the Canary Cry movie.
Yep, I think that'll do it. So there you go. I'll keep everybody posted. I'll probably talk more about it on Thursday for Canary Cry Clubhouse. If anybody wants the emu updates, you got to tune into Canary Cry Clubhouse on Thursdays. Okay. Let me see. I think we have some more producers who came in under the executive producer amount. We'll thank them later on in the show. But thank you to everybody who's keeping the show alive with your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Let's jump in or back in to some alien talk, a little update.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Alien. It's unidentified.
The New York Post is reporting missing Air Force general with ties to UFO community planned not to be found, wife says in chilling new 9/11 call. The wife of the retired Air Force General William Neal McCasland, who disappeared without a trace from his New Mexico home in February, told 9/11 dispatchers she feared her husband planned not to be found. And we have the clip here. It's about 2 minutes, Basil. Let's play it. Let's hear this call.
This is April. How may I help you? Hi, April. My name is Susan Wilkerson. My husband is missing. Okay. And it's been about 3 hours, and I have some indication that he must have planned not to be found. He's left his phone. He changed his clothes into I don't know what. I think he's on foot. All of our cars and bicycles are in the garage. I left for a doctor's appointment at about 11:10, and he was here at that time at the house. And I got back from that at noon, and he was gone. He turned it off and left it behind, which seems kind of deliberate because he's always got his phone. He has a smartwatch. I don't know if that's with him or not.
Has he ever done this before?
Never. Nothing even remotely like it. He's a retired Air Force Major General. He's very responsible, but he's also facing some medical issues.
Do you have any video at your home?
No.
Has he been diagnosed with any mental disorders or anything like that?
Well, we've been seeing a doc for both physical and mental in terms of anxiety, short-term memory loss, lack of sleep. The same doc I went to see today.
Does he carry any weapons on him?
Well, not generally. He does have a gun safe, and I went to look in the gun safe to see if anything was missing, but I couldn't tell if anything was. He has quite a number of pistols and rifles. Other than saying if his brain and body keep deteriorating, he didn't want to live like that. But it seemed to me that was just a, man, I hate how this is going kind of thing, because I told him, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay. We're going to send some deputies up to talk to you, see if we can search a little bit and see what's going on, okay?
Sure.
Okay, there you go. That's the clip. It does sound like anxiety, short-term memory loss. It reminds me of the the Men in Black flash of light that makes you forget everything.
Yeah.
But somewhere in the subconscious, there's some imprint of the memory of something you did or something like that, and cause anxiety.
It's very interesting because, of course, we were kind of all the reporting early on was done in such a way, not maybe so explicitly, but was done in such a way that, it was really insensitive or inappropriate to consider maybe he went off on purpose, right? That it sounded he changed his shoes, he wore his hiking boots, his gun was missing, his phone was left at home. And, it was, I don't know, it wasn't so explicit, but it was kind of like, hey, he's an old guy who may have wandered off and has nothing. Even the reporting was like, his wife says it has nothing to do with his UFO background. Stop saying that. But the actual 9/11 call itself, I mean, that's pretty implied. The wife says herself, it seems pretty deliberate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. The media is carrying on with this. Last I saw, it's funny because we're just watching the articles fly by. 4 scientists and military guys connected to UFOs gone missing. 5 UFO scientists and military guys. 6, 8, 9. I think I saw one that said 9 just the other day. So, this guy is.
He started an entire genre for the mainstream to keep track of, which is missing important people.
Well, specifically connected to UFOs and
that's what
alien technology stuff.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, which again, it does feel like if we're thinking about the narrative craft here, it does appear to be because what could the outcomes be here? That this is, they're getting recruited for a really top secret military mission for the United States or maybe the world.
Or they're getting taken out, so the truth.
Or they're getting taken out, right? There's, of course. So there's some different possibilities. Because the list itself is confusing because some of the names on the list are people who have gone missing. Others are people who have died.
Right.
So they're all lumping it together.
They keep going further and further back. They're adding names to the things, but they're adding them retroactively. So what that means is that it's specifically a narrative thing. They're wanting to make it sound that the number of these missing people is going up, when in fact they're adding them sort of posthumously, to put it one way, which means it's much more about the implications being made to the public. And at the same time, there's more and more UFO talk, aliens.gov. It does seem part of the growing narrative where they want the public to be thinking more and more and more that aliens are coming.
Yeah, and there was a clip that it didn't go viral really, but people were sharing it around over the weekend, and people need to pay attention because it was a clip of Marco Rubio talking about how we really need to get to the bottom of this. We've shot down 4 of them. We need to, blah, 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 blah. They might be releasing technology. And people are like, oh, no, they're about to release the technology.
Right. But there's a clip from the balloons.
The Chinese balloons. Yeah. So it had nothing to do with UFOs, technically.
Speaking of UFOs, before we go to the next one, I threw a link in our notes there below the UFO thing there.
Okay.
This is coming just posted by Daily Mail. It's about Artemis 2. The headline says, Artemis 2 reports strange patterns on the moon as the NASA crew conducts historic flyby.
Strange patterns.
Yes, the relevant matter here says, as the astronauts swept over the far side in the Orion capsule, they reported seeing striking geometric patterns, winding formations they deemed squiggles, and unexpected shades of green and brown across the rugged lunar terrain. The moon's far side permanently faces away from Earth compared to the familiar near side that features heavily cratered landscapes, a thicker crust, and fewer of the dark volcanic plains visible from our planet. The astronauts have spotted newly formed craters on the lunar surface that stand out like tiny holes in a lampshade, Koch told the NASA control room as the crew flew by. Quote, all the really bright new craters, some of them are super tiny, most of them are pretty small. There's a couple that really stand out, obviously, and what it looks like is a lampshade with tiny pinprick holes and the light shining through.
This is definitely part of the disclosure, Basil. It's got to be, right?
He's describing these craters not as how we see craters on this side, which is dark divots.
Right.
He's saying there's light shining out from the craters. A lampshade has the light inside, the light comes out of the holes.
It's like the Incubus lyric, you know, the sky looks like a backlit canopy with holes punched in it.
Maybe they're the windows to the spaceship that is the hollow moon.
Yeah.
The moon bases, the moon is hollow. We know this, of course.
It rings like a bell.
When you crash stuff into it. And, they couldn't put any windows or portholes towards the Earth because then Earth could see the light shining through from the aliens or the Nazis or the Nazi aliens, who are inside with their bright lights. I think that's pretty weird, man.
Oh, we could get a hot tub in the moon base.
I'm going back to the Netflix live stream. They're just back and they're inside the ship. They're not show the outside of the ship. We don't care what you guys are doing in the ship. They're drinking coffee. What is this? What are they talking about? Drinking coffee? Are they drinking Cage Rattler coffee? Because otherwise we don't care.
No,
guys eating something.
Says here, Glover has been relaying what the team has witnessed from the windows, telling Mission Control that they are seeing an island of terrain completely surrounded by darkness. Up north, there's a very nice double crater. It looks like a snowman just sitting there, he continued. On the southern edge, there is a hole, just blackness and a wall of brightness. It looks like there is a gigantic hole right there. While observing one large impact basin, Glover noted a striking contrast between the outer and the inner rings. Rings?
Rings? What rings? Like the crater rings?
Yeah.
What's going on right now?
It's very interesting. Got some weird reports coming from the far side of the moon. You can see the aliens waving from the windows there.
I'm going to take this opportunity, Basil, to mention another thing that I hadn't really seen anybody talk about with this Artemis 2 moon mission, which is that there is something called the Avatar on board with them. And I made a post about it here. Let me just find the post so I can just read that to you. Yeah, okay, so here we go. So according to NASA, there's a chip on board, Basil. There's a small, it's a chip. It's a microchip looking thing. It looks like a little USB port. And the images from the Avatar website, it's called Avatar, and it stands for a virtual astronaut tissue analog response, Avatar. And it's an organ on a chip, and it's a device that contains the cells of the Artemis 2 astronauts, and it's up there with them. And the whole thing is to study how these cells react to microgravity and radiation effects and deep space effects and all this kind of stuff. That's what they claim anyway. And this is a NASA project partnered with the U.S. government, a bunch of agencies in the U.S. government, including BARDA, which is the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. And they say that this is for, it's just for the betterment of humanity. We're going to find out how it's going to help medical health on Earth somehow. It says here that Artemis 2 Avatar is a small experiment flying aboard Artemis 2 that could lead to big impacts in healthcare, both for astronauts in space and citizens on Earth. So, and I mean, all I can think about is the movie Avatar, you know, where they had the genetically grown meat suits of you know, these guys from another world, and the other planet people thought that you know, they were possessed by demons or something like that, but it was just humans inside these virtual meat suits, and it was all about genetically engineered alien meat suits or something. Anyway, I thought it was interesting, Basil, that they would have these little microchip, what is it, flesh on chip, what do they call it, organ on a chip of the astronauts with the astronauts, which is, it's like this esoteric thing where it's like, oh, the human cells, you know, the sample of the cells next to the actual body of the people, you know, to test how the cells may react similarly or differently or something like that. There's some strange esoteric supernatural type of thing going on there, or a spiritual thing going on there. So yeah, just a little report so people understand that there's more than meets the eye with all of this. And they got these gnarly looking metal cases that they're in. And so there you go, Basil, the Avatar on board.
Well, let's shift gears here from UFOs and space and moon bases. Let's check in with AI. There's some very interesting AI sort of cultural academia that I caught over the weekend here.
Artificial intelligence.
This is coming from Ars Technica, and you know, this originally stood out because we have been noticing just in the sort of ambient messaging from culture and the media this year, one big theme coming through is surrender. We had the airplane heads down, hands up, sort of hypnotic chant come through earlier the year. We had Brian Johnson talking about surrendering to the DMT, or surrendering to creation. Of course, lots of surrender talk with the Iran war. This sort of ambient low hum of the theme of surrender this year. And so this headline stuck out from Ars Technica: cognitive surrender leads AI users to abandon logical thinking, research finds. When it comes to large language model powered tools, there are generally two broad categories of users. On one side are those who treat AI as a powerful but sometimes faulty service that needs careful human oversight and review to detect reasoning or factual flaws in responses. On the other side are those who routinely outsource their critical thinking to what they see as an all-knowing machine. Recent research goes a long way to forming a new psychological framework for that second group, which regularly engages in, quote, cognitive surrender to AI's seemingly authoritative answers. That research also provides some experimental examination of when and why people are willing to outsource their critical thinking to AI, and how factors like time pressure and external incentives can affect that decision. In Thinking Fast, Slow, and Artificial: How AI is Reshaping Human Reasoning and the Rise of Cognitive Surrender, researchers from the University of Pennsylvania sought to build on existing scholarship that outlines two broad categories of decision-making. One, shaped by fast, intuitive, and effective processing, that's System 1, and one shaped by slow, deliberative, and analytical reasoning, that's System 2. The onset of AI systems, the researchers argue, has created a new third category of artificial cognition, in which decisions are driven by external, automated, data-driven reasoning originating from algorithmic systems rather than the human mind. So for those, we've covered this a little bit in the past, but this has been a big topic over the past, I don't know, decade. The System 1, System 2 thinking, fast thinking or slow thinking. Fast is obviously fast. It's sort of your make a decision based on your instinct, make a decision based on the immediate information that you already have. Slow thinking is when, you know, you have a decision to make and you stop, you think about it, you gain more information, maybe you take a couple days, And all of our thinking kind of fits into one of these two categories. If something's kind of easy, or we already have a lot of insights, or we already have preferences or something like that, we'll just make decisions fast. Or we can choose to think slow about it. And sometimes if you're like me, you can get stuck, sort of paralyzed between trying to make a fast decision or trying to make a slow decision, and going back and forth and don't know what one to do. And then you just sit there and do nothing. To summarize this, they do a pretty good job of laying out how this experiment was done in the first place. I don't know if it's the most important to go through the whole thing. I'll see if I can summarize it here. So they got a bunch of people, and they were given answers to questions, choices, right? And these choices were to they were seeing if people would use fast thinking or slow thinking to answer these questions. The questions were done in a way that everybody could have a fast answer, but if you stop and you think about it one or two steps, then you'll realize that the fast answer was the wrong answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's an answer that you could answer quickly, but if you don't think a couple steps ahead, then you actually would answer incorrectly by going fast.
Sure.
And so they found that, so that was the control group. And then the variable group, they had the same questions, same fast or slow setup, but they were also given the opportunity, instead of deciding for themselves, they had a chatbot that they could ask. So they were given the choice: answer fast, answer slow, or ask AI, and decide after asking AI. Long story short, and these numbers were sort of enormous. Let me actually read from the official numbers, because they were kind of crazy. In one study, an experimental group with access to this modified AI consulted. And the AI was designed specifically to give 50% correct answers and 50% incorrect answers. But the people didn't know that, right? They thought they were just asking AI, but the AI was designed to give 50% right, 50% incorrect. The experimental group with access to this modified AI consulted it for help with about 50% of the presented problems. So about half the time they would ask the AI. When the AI was accurate, those AI users accepted its reasoning about 93% of the time. So 93% of people choosing the AI answer. When the AI was randomly faulty, though, those users still accepted the AI reasoning, a lower but still high 80% of the time, showing that the mere presence of the AI frequently displaced internal reasoning, according to the researchers. So what this showed was, if anybody ever had the opportunity to consult the AI, they consulted it about half the time. But when they consulted it, they believed it, whether it was wrong or right, between 80 or 90%. So the mere fact that you even touched the AI basically made you trust it.
Or I was going to say, like, you get the answer. There was no intuition of like, well, let's double check, or maybe, maybe a gut feeling like it doesn't seem right. Because, I'll get that with AI. Like, you get an answer and be like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right.
I do it all the time.
And then the AI will tell you, like, yeah, you're right. I didn't consider this or whatever. It'll just tell you, like, oh yeah, you're right. I made a mistake.
Exactly. So, no, I'm just glad you said that, because that is exactly the point. I'm using AI. I was using AI when I was trying to figure out hatching emu eggs. I'm sitting there.
Right.
What am I doing wrong? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And it was giving me all these answers. I'm going to tell the longer story on Clubhouse on Thursday. Long story short, basically AI was the reason that I was not hatching any emu eggs. It was
it was preventing you. It's the anti-emu AI.
Yeah, and it's a big long story, but it turns out if anybody wants to get into emus, there's basically zero good information online, and there's even less information on AI. It is all incorrect. But anyways, I'll tell that longer story. So the point being that even the fact that AI was there automatically made people use it and trust it, even it was wrong, because they weren't taking one more step to question the AI, even when it was, could be wrong, couldn't be wrong. Nobody actually thought to question the AI that they were given. Let me scroll down to the bottom here. So that was kind of the main thing. And what it showed them was that, AI is not just helping us make decisions, or it's not just like we use it in addition to our own thinking. What it proved was using AI is its own new kind of thinking. So you have your normal slow and fast, and AI didn't just modify slow or fast, but that it's become an entirely new mode for human thinking. And unfortunately, it's wrong so often, but it's not even being wrong or right. It's just we're stepping outside of our normal way of thinking and inventing an entirely new one. And this is what's driving people crazy. This is why AI psychosis, this is why all the horrible things about AI are happening. It says these kinds of effects weren't uniform across all test subjects, though. Those who scored highly on separate measures of so-called fluid IQ were less likely to rely on the AI for help and were more likely to overrule faulty AI when it was consulted. Those predisposed to see AI as authoritative in a survey, on the other hand, were much more likely to be led astray by faulty AI-provided answers. Despite the results, though, the researchers point out that cognitive surrender is not inherently irrational. And this was a hilarious part of it at the end here. Listen to this. They're saying cognitive surrender is not inherently irrational. While relying on an LLM that's wrong half the time, as in the case of these experiments, has obvious downsides, a, quote, statistically superior system could plausibly give better than human results in domains such as probabilistic setting, risk assessment, or extensive data, the researchers suggest. So even at the end of this, where they're like, oh my gosh, AI is creating an entirely new way that humans are thinking, and it's bad because they're just trusting an AI, whether they even say that they're trusting it or not. They're getting led astray because they're simply not having a second thought. And I've said this for years, and I haven't said it in a while. To anybody trying to make it through this world and survive the narrative and survive everything, the simplest thing I can tell you is just have a second thought. Just think one more step. At best, think a couple more steps. But often it's that just thinking one more step that proves the narrative you're reading, the article you're reading, the propaganda that you're getting, the whatever it is. If you just think one more step after that, you can avoid so much of the pitfalls. And that's what's separating what used to separate, I think, a lot of people in the world, left, right, whatever, is that one group tends to think one more step after the original thought. And it's not even about left or right, Democrat or Republican. It's believing the news, believing what you're told, trusting authority. Quote, as reliance increases, performance tracks AI quality. Yes. They're saying, oh, but once the AI is better, then we'll all be great. That's literally what they say at the end of this is like, yes, but once the AI is 100% reliable, then it'll be good.
Once the AI is God, then we will be just fine, everybody.
Cognitive surrender will be a good thing once the AI is better. In other words, then it says here at the end, in other words, letting an AI do your reasoning means your reasoning is only ever going to be as good as that AI system. As always, let the prompter beware. So it's not even saying, oh, this is bad, this is not good. We are letting the robots think for us and we should try to avoid that or maintain some of our cognitive control or something. Just saying, no, we're just giving we're cognitively surrendering to the AI, but that's good because the AI will be better someday. Oh, great. Thank you. So this message of surrender is good. This is what the message we've been getting through a lot of different avenues this year. Heads down, hands up. It's for your safety. The posture of surrender. We've got Brian Johnson surrendering to, to put it plainly, surrendering to psychedelics changed his life and saw the universe. Surrender to the psychedelics. And again, you think of, they're saying surrender, surrender, surrender. It's for your own safety. It's for your own enlightenment. And the initial response is like, see, they want us to surrender. That's bad. We should not surrender. But what it is a counterfeit of a deeper biblical truth that we know, much how the enemy counterfeits everything. Luciferianism, Satanism, it's all a mirror opposite of the spiritual mechanics of how God has set up the universe, because we are called to surrender to Christ. We are called to surrender to the creator of the universe. But in classic counterfeit, esoteric, occult, technate fashion, they take that concept of holy surrender to the creator, flip it on its head, and pound into our skulls and into our culture that surrendering to authority, surrendering for your safety, surrendering to the psychedelics, surrendering, in this case, to the AI. Don't worry, once it's better, is the way to go. I think this is a broadly applicable piece of the spiritual propaganda that is setting a lot of people up for whatever this new golden age is. So walk us right into the beast system.
All to AI, I surrender. All to algorithms, I freely give. All to will ever love and trust the algorithm in its presence daily live. Everybody now. I surrender now. All I surrender all to thee, my blessed AI. I surrender all. There we go.
Wow. I can feel AI in this sanctuary.
Oh, is that going to free me from the murderous AI robots when they come online? Like, you sang the first AI love song, worship song. You will be spared.
The AI's here to help you, Gons. Don't worry. Just surrender.
Just surrender. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, good thing that our brains are being surrendered, because the next step is completely surrendering all of our being, not just our cognition. And this is an article that was published by the New Yorker, which ironically has like the creepiest AI video loop as part of this. The headline is Sam Altman may control our future. Can he be trusted? ?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to describe this loop video?
Yeah, well, the AI image, it's like a little GIF, and Sam Altman is standing there, and attached to his head is, let's see, about 9 other Sam Altman's heads. Like his body is there, he's standing there, and it's like he has 10 heads or 10 horns, perhaps, sitting on his shoulders, and they all have different expressions. Like some are sad, some are happy. He has many faces. They're kind of calling him duplicitous a bit. And he reaches up, he grabs one of his heads, he looks at it, he puts it back where it was. He picks up a mask for some reason of his own face and then throws it back down on the ground. So, pretty creepy, pretty weird. Definitely looks like, a reference to like some Babylonian many-faced god.
Yeah, multi-faced god, or some sort of theophany. In the Bible, there's often creatures that have multiple faces, different animals and stuff. Yeah. Well, the article, it's very, very long, so we're not going to read it. But basically, it goes over some of the drama behind OpenAI and some of the internal turmoil that has persisted over there with different things going on. And it outlines it. It's in the New Yorker, so it's not going to necessarily get to the bottom of anything. It's just kind of rehashing old things. But part of what they report is, and again, we've talked about this before, but it's just sort of being pushed out there into the culture. What Sam Altman somewhat desires as the new social contract is the way it's somewhat framed. And he's suggesting that because of AI, we need a new social contract, which is another way to say that, hey, we just, a new way to do society, a new way to behave in society. And his suggestion, of course, is a more technocratically controlled society. And the way he frames it, of course, is that, we can't just let AI run everything. We can't trust the governments because they don't really know how all the algorithms work. So what we need is sort of a coalition or a group of technocrats, the scientists, the data scientists, and the people involved with the making of AI to be the decision makers. And we all just need to agree with it. Okay. And here's the deal. We're not going to try to take over the world. That's not our plan. In fact, we'll even put into place these provisions where if the decision that has to be made from on high, undermines the profit model of OpenAI, then we will do that because we're for humanity. Okay. Our goal is to protect humanity. But of course, if the last century has taught us anything about centralized power authorities sort of shaping reality for the rest of us, it never goes well because, of course, it's always a bad sign when one group gets to decide what's best for all of us. And that's been the struggle really of the last 100 years in the old New World Order. And with the new World Order, Altman wants to do more of the same and maintain a sort of centralized control over this. And he's suggesting that it's okay because this new technocratic elite, we're not going to usurp humanity. We're not here to destroy it. We're here to he leans into altruism, redistribution of wealth to some regard. We're going to take care of you. We're only going to release the AI that's going to help humanity and all this kind of stuff. All very nice words. But again, if patterns are anything, I'm sure Bill Gates and the Bill Gates Foundation had all the good intentions when they wanted to roll out vaccines into the crevasses of Africa, all the different tribes and stuff, to prevent disease and help the local people that don't have access to the medicine to benefit as well. Well, that's we kind of know what happened in that situation. And I think a lot of it is it's the same type of thinking. This is like the old world thinking and trying to cram it into this new paradigm with AI. And I guess not the fear, but sort of the trajectory of all of this is that kind of corporate technocratic move, especially if government is involved, and especially as Sam Altman, he's one of the board members of the AI Ethics Council or whatever that Trump recently put together. And, it's interesting that Elon is not part of that council, at least not yet. And so I think the move now, Basil, because in so many ways, like the AI is somewhat inevitable in terms of just being a part of our world, and much in the same way smartphones and the internet itself really shifted and changed society to a greater extent, but also didn't, there's positives and negatives that came out of it. But in terms of our social contract, they have clearly changed. An email used to not mean anything. It was like, oh, an email, what is this? I can't go to court with an email. But yeah, now you can. Now you can bring emails to court. It's the whole thing, the Epstein files and stuff. So it's changed the way we value certain aspects of our social contract. And that's something that emerges naturally anyway from new technology. But OpenAI and Sam Altman, they want to control this narrative. They want to control what that looks like. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how much of it, because Sam Altman is not very popular. You know, he might be popular with some elite folks deep into the weeds of the technocratic goals, but for the rest of the public, if WorldCoin and staring at the orb showed us anything, at least in America, maybe other countries are more open to this, especially if they're suffering and they need some kind of help. And maybe that's the plan too, is to really
Well, I
destroy
wouldn't
the American
say that
economy.
because he's been banned from
Oh,
multiple.
you're right. You're right. He's been banned by multiple. Yeah. But you know that he did have a little bit of success in rolling out the technology and giving out free crypto and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. Yeah, most of the governments did shut down a lot of what they were doing. Yeah, even worldwide, he's looked upon as kind of like, nah, no thanks. We really don't need your assistance in like the development of artificial intelligent ethics. But he keeps popping up and he's not going away, I don't think, anytime soon. And so it'll be interesting to see if there is some sort of civil war in terms of what AI makes it or how AI is used. And to me, it's kind of, there's two choices for the common citizen. And one is to do our best to not use it ever, right? Just completely go off grid, like go offline. The problem though is as the surveillance apparatus comes online and it gets deeper and wider and more effective and all this stuff, there is no off grid. There's kind of off grid, but you're never really off grid. Like they can find you. It's not as off grid as it used to be. Maybe 50 years ago. So there's that. That's one option. Try to really go Amish in like a true sense, or to use what's available and do our best to guide the use of it for positive things. Lean into the Beatitudes, lean into some basic biblical principles, or maybe even just even in the secular sense, just some common sense ethics to try to roll out things and try to prevent things, the usage of it, even if it means it stalls progress, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially if you're a technocrat. You just want to keep things moving. But if there is a way to slow down progress in that sense, and I'm not saying that these things are going to happen, it's just more of an idealistic outlook here. I don't see any other way around it until it all sort of culminates in the entire beast system and the mark and the image and all that kind of stuff that eventually will roll out, it seems. Those are the only two paths really I see, Basil. You either use it and do your best to use it in a positive direction, or you try to avoid it at all costs. But even then, if you're going to participate in some level of society, it's going to be hoisted upon you, much like the internet was for everybody.
Yeah. Well, it just depends. You got to make a choice about how much you want to participate in society. I mean, it goes back to that kind of defining question. That's been a question for Christians, for thousands of years.
Right.
To a degree, it all comes down to how much of society do you participate in?
Right.
And, that's going to be a great question moving forward.
Yeah. And even then, again, as I said, even if you choose not to, it's not as if you get to completely unplug and stay away from it. It will be, you will still be under the watchful eye of the AI in some capacity. Your data will be gathered, whether it's, this little region and this little family of googly-eyed emus and this strange man running around with googly eyes. He's not participating in the deep algorithms of society. But that itself will provide a sort of database.
I think that's even more interesting because, you could, I don't know. I think you can say, well, I'm just not going to create any data. You can make that choice. Don't get on your cell phone. Don't have the internet. You can create no data. But of course, in the AI sort of algorithmic realm, no data is in itself data.
It's a form of
that's
data.
Part of how they pinpoint certain kinds of terrorists and stuff is they go, hey, this guy's not actually making any data.
Right. Why?
What's going on? Maybe look in different directions, look in different outlets. They found various terrorists over the years because they didn't have any cell phone data. They go, that's weird. There's no cell phone data. But then they look and they go, oh, it's because he's chatting over World of Warcraft.
Right.
Which I've said this before, but I had a hacker buddy I haven't talked to in a few years, but he was, we were talking about this kind of thing. And he's like, I'm like, oh, I just want to go off the grid. I don't want to make any data. He's like, no, you got to make some data. You gotta do something online. You gotta have, do something on your phone, because if they see there's no data, then that's suspicious. So
Right. It says here, AI capacity may soon displace oil or enrich uranium as the resource that dictates the global balance of power.
Yeah.
Altman said that the computing power is, quote, the currency of the future.
Yeah, again, we pointed that out into like 2017. So
I know.
I
get it. I get it. It's just it's interesting to see it reach the social consciousness of the public, of the New Yorker of all places.
I think one last topic here to round out this home run of an episode, guys. We're really touching on all the things here.
Yeah, we are.
Let's talk about pharmakia real quick. We've talked about pharmakia. Of course, pharmakia takes lots of different forms, I guess, in today's day and age. It's always a question for believers what pharmakia to participate in or not participate in. Again, kind of like data, is it possible to not participate in any pharmakia? But one very obvious pharmakia, and of course, pharmakia in the Bible, referencing not just things like potions and medicine, but also magic and medicine, magic and drugs, of course, one exciting version of this. And we see alongside, simultaneously, step by step, in not even a very subtle way, we have technocracy, we have technology, and we have psychedelics moving forward together. They're intertwined. Of course, Brian Johnson mentioned earlier having his DMT trip, sort of giving credence as a priest of the new religion of psychedelics here. But some big news on the science side. Headline: scientists engineered a plant to produce 5 different psychedelics at once. Now, we'll get into this in a moment, but it's interesting. Just in recent years, the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, announced that they are upping their quota for production of psychedelics. And you go, the DEA creating psychedelics? Well, yes, because the government's got to have some way to make money in the drug market. And in this case, they claim they're upping their quota to create psychedelic compounds so they can be the ones to sell and provide those psychedelic compounds for research. You've got a billions of dollar industry, drug industry, that, of course, the government doesn't like, people who get their psychedelics from the mushrooms on the ground in the forest or the weird frog they pull out of some jungle or something. You got to monetize this sucker. And in fact, we knew that there would be no movement on psychedelics and science until the government could profit from the creating of the substances. Science alert here says scientists engineered a plant to produce 5 different psychedelics at once. What do plants, toads, and mushrooms have in common? They can all produce psychedelic substances, and now their powers have been combined in one plant, like a trippier Captain Planet. In a wild first, scientists have taken the genes these organisms use to make 5 natural psychedelics and introduced them into a tobacco plant, which then produced all 5 compounds simultaneously. So we've also got some fun gene engineering. We've got some chimera. We've got some corrupting of the image here, as in the days of Noah, the scientists playing God again. As interest grows in psychedelics as potential treatments for illness such as depression, anxiety, and PTSD, the newly developed system could offer scientists a new way to produce these compounds for research purposes. Wink. Quote, our strategy established a heterologous plant system for the production of 5 prominent therapeutically valuable compounds, their derivatives and non-natural plant analogs, providing a starting point for their production in plants, writes a team led by researchers at the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel. Tryptamine psychedelics are a class of compounds that include psilocin, psilocybin, and a number of dimethyltryptamine DMT compounds. The ability to produce these substances has emerged in diverse organisms across the tree of life, plants, fungi, and animals. They mentioned the tree of life a couple times,
Yeah, it's
which
interesting.
is interesting. You've got the Kabbalah tree of life, so wrapping pharmakia, even in the reporting of the scientific story, wrapping up pharmakia with the tree of life, with Kabbalah, with the occult, these sorts of things. In recent years, a number of studies have shown that tryptamine psychedelics may represent an untapped resource when it comes to mental health treatments. Then it talks about the supply. Let's see. Traditionally, the supply of psychedelics relies on natural producers, mainly plants, fungi, and the Sonoran desert toad. Harvesting these organisms for their psychoactive compounds raises ecological and ethical concerns, being increasingly threatened by habitat loss and overexploitation. Climate change. We can't study psychedelics because the frogs and the trees and the plants. In an effort
Eco soldiers and space warriors.
That's right. The eco soldiers got to protect the psychedelics. In an effort, and actually has been, we laugh about it, but has been a huge problem in the psychedelics conversation from top to bottom, because things like peyote, a cactus that's sort of protected because of its religious importance to like Native American lands. The fact that these substances just come from nature and not a lab has been one of the kind of wackiest part about navigating the whole thing. Because it's just a frog, or it's just like a plant that grows out there. In an effort to tackle this, plant scientists Paula Berman and Janke Hofer and their team set out to map and rebuild the biochemical pathways behind these compounds. They identified the key genes used by two plants, Psychotria viridis and Acacia acuminata, to make DMT, and the step-by-step chemical pathways involved in producing the compound. Then they combined these genes and pathways already known from psychedelic mushrooms and the cane toad, added supporting enzymes from rice and cress, then genetically introduced and combined genetic toolkit and caboodle into tobacco plants. The tobacco was chosen not because of its own drug production, but because it's basically the lab rat of plant species with fast growth. Finally, the team carefully monitored the plant's production of 5 psychedelic tryptamines, DMT, originally from plants, psilocin and psilocybin from mushrooms, and bufotenin and 5-MeO-DMT from toads. So you've got this tobacco plant that has operating DNA from plants, mushrooms, and animals.
So it's a Nephilim plant, tobacco plant.
And I mean, talk about tree of life, plants, fungi, and animals are 3 totally separate, organisms. Like, they're totally disconnected from each other. Like, it's one thing to mix a plant with a plant, or a fungi with a fungi, or an animal with an animal. We've seen all that forever. But it's sort of combining the entire taxonomy of life on Earth, taking all the branches of life and combining them into one plant, and it creates all these psychedelics. I mean, esoterically, it's got like these really crazy implications. It's like the messing with DNA, again, not just plants or animals or fungi, 3 separate kinds of life, but bringing them all together into this one mega organism that has everything you need for enlightenment and psychedelia and illumination. It's very, very Kabbalah. It's really trippy.
Well, Revelation 16:13, and I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet 3 unclean spirits like frogs. So you got your 3 actual elements there coming out of each, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, and it all looked like the spirits of frogs. So I don't know, maybe there's some interesting things going on there. That's the conglomerate of
Pretty
the
trippy,
unholy
dude.
trinity there.
Pretty
So
psychedelic.
yeah, pretty trippy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting. It's easy to kind of miss how bizarre and like heavy that is, but in the context of if it wasn't in the context of psychedelics, we probably wouldn't even be talking about it. I mean, it's weird, but the fact that it's connected to sort of the psychedelics and its connection to aliens, its connection to, of course, the spirit realm, its connection to transhumanism, connection to technocracy, connection to one world religion, connection. It's just everything, not just plants, fungi, and animals wrapped up into one, trippy esoteric plant, but also all the topics of like moving into the beast system, all wrapped up in this little tobacco plant.
Yeah, the first book of Enoch, chapter 8, verse 1, this is where the Watchers are teaching humanity all kinds of stuff. And it's Samyaze. Samyaze taught spells and the cutting of roots.
Right.
And if you kind of dig into the cutting of roots, it's chopping up the elements of the plants.
Yeah, it's pharmakia. It's creating.
It's pharmakia. Yeah, it's making potions and mixtures and stuff like that. So it's literally what the scientists are doing here with the combining the different elements to create a super tobacco plant that can bring you to the moon, Basil. Take you to the moon, which, by the way, some people are sharing footage from inside the station there. There's a perfect moment when a Nutella bottle floats across.
Yeah, some product placement.
Perfect product placement there. How much did Nutella have to pay for that one? I don't know.
And it's not like anybody's chasing it either. They're all busy working on something. You don't even see where it came from. It just floats across perfectly, just as a little advertisement. Nobody's catching it. It's just a free floating Nutella jar that's like floating down the spacecraft.
Oh, we've lost our minds. What happened to the stream? Is it over?
It's no,
the Netflix. Oh no, it's still going.
It's still going. They're just doing mapping out the pinholes in the lampshade. Trying
They're
to
4,000 miles above statute miles above the moon.
Yeah, very exciting.
Is what they say. Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Some graphics. They don't even have CGI for this one.
No, they're just mapping it out for us. It looks like somebody mapping out football plays, circling different craters and things. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, Gons, we got some people who we could not do this show without. Some of our producers. Before we thank our producers, I want to remind everybody that you can join the Canary Cry text message alert system. It's very fun. Lots of people do it. You probably don't get a whole lot of notifications when we go live. The platforms, they love not telling people when we go live. But you can get a text right from me. I send out a text to hundreds of people before every show. And you can be one that gets the text. All you got to do is text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Just text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. You'll start getting a message from me before every show. And the fun part is you can text that number back and say hi to me. I cannot carry on a text conversation with you because it's very expensive for us. But I will read them and say, hi, we got this message here. From Dame, who's this? Hello, Basil and Gons. This is Dame Merlot of the Sevens. I hope everyone had a blessed Resurrection Day. This weekend, I met another Canarian out in the wild. Turns out a friend of mine listens to Canary Cry News Talk. I gave him a hard time about missing out on the Twin Cities meetup. You know who you are.
Called out. I like it.
Love it. Gotta love when Canarians find each other out in the wild. Maybe it's because you're wearing your Canary Cry t-shirt. Maybe you just, I don't know, got some googly eyes on your head or something. Or maybe you're just more aware, attuned, and educated than everybody else around you. Love it when Canarians find each other. Thank you very much for that message, Dame Merlo of the Sevens. And you, obviously, already a dame of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, doing your job, producing the show. I think it's about time your friend produces the show. If anybody ever meets other Canarians out in the wild, the first thing that you should ask them is, have you been demooched? Because it'd be a shame if you hadn't been demooched yet.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty awesome. I love hearing those stories.
Yeah.
By the way, Basil, just so for the time here, for the for time stamping this moment, they are on the dark side right this second. They're waiting. They said another 15 minutes to 20 minutes before they receive contact again. So they're allegedly being abducted right now. They're receiving the sacred knowledge of the dark side of the moon.
Great. Well, can't wait to hear what they have to say when they come out the other end.
Yeah.
All right, we got a handful of producers who came in. They supported the show under the amount of $100 or more, but we still thank them very much. Now, remember, if you produce the show in the amount of $7.77 or more, you're entitled to have a note read on the show. If you're coming in under that amount, it's usually people keeping a streak going or something, but we'll thank you on Wednesday. Let's see here. I want to thank producer Rebecca T. Rebecca T comes in.
Rebecca T.
Or 5678 5678
5678. I forgot how to count.
67809.
Thank you, Rebecca T.
Rebecca T is on a 12 episode streak.
Wow.
On the day.
She might as well be walking on the sun.
Oh, is 12 walking on the sun? 15 is Rocket Man. I was going to say
15 Rocket Man.
Okay. Well, walking on this is still space related.
Yeah.
Congrats, Rebecca T. Thank you for your continued support and generosity.
She's on the street.
We got a producer, Rebecca J comes in.
Ooh, back-to-back Rebeccas.
Double Rebecca's. Signs
Double
up
Rebecca here.
Support the show for $27 a month on a monthly producership. Thank you very much.
Rebecca J. Ooh, my microphone.
Woo.
Oh, there we go.
Got to check your cables.
I got all kinds of issues over here today. Yeah, apparently.
Producer Tabitha C. Tabitha C comes in for $19.84 a month. She joined the Canary Cry T-shirt Council.
All right, Tabitha C. Thank you.
That's right. I recommend if anybody out there, if you want to meet other Canarians out in the wild, the best way to do it is to wear your Canary Cry T-shirt, and you get your Canary Cry T-shirt by joining the Canary Cry T-shirt Council, where every quarter you will be chosen to vote and decide the fate of the world by deciding what is on the Canary Cry T-shirt Council for that quarter. And then you get the T-shirt for free. So go to canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com, sign up there. It's a great thing. Speaking of which, we got, producer, I think this is Trash Man. Producer Trash Man comes in for $33.33. And he sent a note here. He said, this is a make good for a failed supply drop withdrawal. So he's a supply dropper. This is a good reminder. I almost, didn't put this in here, but I do want to thank Trash Man for making good on that. And a good reminder for all supply droppers, because every quarter when we're putting the list together, both PayPal and Stripe, they do not alert us when somebody's payment doesn't go through. And I don't think they alert other people. So every quarter, there's a handful of people who have fallen, I guess, out of favor with the supply drop because of failed transactions. And I always have to send them an email to see if they meant to. I know they didn't cancel it on purpose. But a lot of people, the banks just mess with them. They mess with us. They don't like, the whole system around here. So if you're a supply dropper, a T-shirt council, or any monthly producer, always recommend checking your account, that make sure that your stuff is going through, oh no, I got this out of Illuminatus. Yes, thank you. Producer Hunter G comes in and signs up for $6.99 a month, which is the price of Netflix without ads.
Hey, there you go. Thank you
very much. Netflix without ads, and you're coming in value for value. Appreciate that, Hunter G. And of course, just a reminder, CageRattlerCoffee.com. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. Get your coffee. Support the show. It's good stuff.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
They just called the moon a disc, Basil.
Wow. It is a disc.
They
It's
said a
projection.
disc
It's
of the moon.
Plasma disc filled with aliens. Okay, that concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you very much to our financial producers. If you came in under 777, we'll thank you on Wednesday. I was checking, just a reminder for anybody out there who wants to put value back into the show with your talent. Maybe you're a musician, you want to make jingles, you're an artist, you can make some art for the show. All you got to do is go to canarycry.art and you can upload the art there. We'd love to feature it on the show. I did not see any new art come in from last week, so that's very
I didn't
sad.
either. Yeah.
But just a reminder for any artists out there, you should be making stuff, sending it in. Let's see. You have any other announcements? Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. Just
I will
thanking
say we do have a meetup. We got a
Oh,
meetup.
right. Yes, we do have some meetups to mention.
Go to canarycrymeetups.com. And where is it? I'm gonna have to pull up the details. Did we put the April 25th meetup?
I believe so. The Kansas City meetup.
Yeah, Kansas City meetup, April 25th. Meet at Kelly's Westport Inn at 12:45. Look for a couple guys in Canary Cry News Talk t-shirts, and you'll have the option to attend the Demon Hunter concert.
Yes.
Apologies, I forgot to fix the name of the band on the email.
Oh, it's still. Oh, you know what? It's wrong on the thing too.
It's wrong. It's so wrong. We got to finish this. There's the Demon Hunter concert that night that you are welcome to join if you'd like. That'll be later on in the evening. But there you go. Just look for a couple guys in the CCNT shirts at Kelly's Westport Inn in Kansas City, April 25th.
Which
12:45.
It's kind of funny. My curiosity's got the best of me after learning about this meetup, and I did go check out some Demon Hunter, and not bad, pretty heavy stuff, and it's sort of I think they call it like post hardcore Christian music or something.
Yeah, I had some buddies who listened to Demon Hunter when I was in college and high school.
Yeah, so I went down the rabbit hole and I found a band, because the lyrics aren't necessarily, obviously you're not going to, it's not like praise and worship out there.
Well, you also can't really hear the lyrics. I mean, come on.
Well, that's up for debate. You got to have an ear for it, Basil. You got to really get into the screaming genre.
Anybody who hears words there is lying.
I was in a band that screamed. I myself screamed at one point, so I can have the ear. But also, I found this band called Reformed, and there's a song called "Curse," and it was a good song. I mean, they just basically took like 2 or 3 psalms and turned that into lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So and those it kind of works because a lot of it is very they're really seeking God and stuff. Like, why do you why don't you punish the wicked and stuff? There's a lot of places that work really well with this genre.
Yeah, a lot of the Bible has a lot of really metal lyrics.
Yeah, no, it's great. So I'm glad that the young kids are getting exposed to somewhat sound biblical theology from heavy music. Because hey, I would have totally been that guy. So I appreciate it. So here we go. It's fixed. Demon Hunter concert later in the evening. Kansas City meetup, April 25th. Go check it out.
Yeah.
I also put these potential meetups. I don't know if they're full.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but yes, there are potential meetups. If you're in the Humboldt County, California area, you've got contact for Marty Not Sir K there. If you want to meet up around Humboldt County, California, you can contact Marty Not Sir K at gmail.com. Pennsylvania, tri-state area, you can reach out to Rod from Millennial Mustard Seed, mmseed@proton.me. Those are just people who put it out there. Hey, I want to do a meetup, but I just haven't planned something. So if there's anybody in the area, so there you go.
There you go.
And a good reminder, if you go to Canary Cry meetups, everybody, and you don't see a meetup in your area, you can put one on yourself. It's easy. Just pick a time, pick a place, email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com. Just say, hey, I'm in this area. This is the day. This is the place. I'll be there. Meet up people come meet up with me. Yeah, that usually works. Okay, I think that's it.
You know, there was some guy named Chris Bledsoe, I guess years ago, had this prophecy that on
Yeah, the Sphinx. We talked about the Sphinx guy.
Yeah, did you hear?
It was supposed to happen on Easter.
Sunday. Yeah,
right. But it was about a week or two ago. He told everybody, "Oh, it's not going to be Easter. It's going to be in September,
October or September." Yeah, they pushed it back. They always push it back. Them false prophets do. You know,
that's what happens when you set dates. You gotta reset the dates. It's just part of the plan.
It's part of the Great Reset.
All right, we got some producers who are helping us out on the back end. I want to give a shout out to the Canary Cry tech team. They're doing a great job getting contact there. Thank you to the tech team. We've got producers who help us out with their talent.
That's for the
they
tech
reach
team.
out to us. They say, "Hey, I want to help out. These are my skills, or what do you want me to do?" And a lot of times we don't know what we need until somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I can do this for you. I can do this for you." But a big old shout out to some of our most faithful producers helping us out with their time. It's our time stampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
I'm looking at it here, and it looks like Jade Bouncerson did our timestamps for episode 928. Wow, but we're almost at 9:30 next episode. We're just chugging right along. I was wondering, I think we did the math of when we would hit 1,000 episodes. It's potentially this year, yeah, I think.
No, it'll be
early next year?
the first half of 27.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. We're only doing a couple episodes a week, so all right.
Just
Bummer, but it'll be close, I think.
unless
right?
you count, we're further ahead if you count all sorts of things. If you count
Well, yeah, but
radio
you
or
know,
Clubhouse, but we
right, I know, but like if we're just doing the actual number of news talk, then I think we're
we got a little over a
Little
year, a year
okay.
from now.
Okay, got it.
So you got time, everybody. Start saving your pennies to get a knighthood on episode 1,000 or something.
Yep.
Okay, I want to thank Jam, who heads up the Telegram channel. I want to thank Adam42, who heads up the Discord channel. If you want to get connected with Canarians online, highly recommend you do. You gotta have some fellowship. You can join the Telegram channel or the Discord channel by going to canarycry.party. Scroll down, you will see the invite links to the Discord and the Telegram there. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clicking. Thank you to Sir Ike for everything you're doing for us, Sir Ike. Don't forget to go leave ratings and reviews, folks. Leave a rating and a review. Take a screenshot. Send that to canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com. And other than that, share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with the astronauts. Share it with the aliens on the dark side of the moon. Share it with Tim Burchett. Somebody get the show to Tim Burchett so we could talk about, I don't know, disclosure or something with him. Whatever it is, we call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Phil in YouTube chat says, "Dang, it seems like episode 333 was just yesterday." You're telling me, Phil. Gons, you got any last words? Oh, Gons is gone. Oh, he just totally disconnected. Oh no, he totally disconnected. Oh, he's back. He's back.
I'm back. I got kicked out. I don't know what happened.
All right. Well,
oh
you
man,
must have had some last words then. That was your last words.
my last words is Happy World Health Organization birthday tomorrow.
Woo!
Make
Watch
sure to
out
tell
for that
them.
International Energy Agency. They're coming for you lockdowns, folks.
Yep.
All right,
For sure.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside of that cage.
This is the way.
Armageddon's on the way. Armageddon's on the way.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye!
I want to shake things up. I want to shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
And a resounding baga flies through the air across the world. Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. You had a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? Call out. You had a lot of people screaming randomly. Go ahead and... Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
I will say one thing, though. I love Canary Crime News Talk. It's got everything. It's the best podcast. I think outside the cage, you know what I mean? Hit the subscribe button. It's not fake news, not at all.
Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Give me a break.
It's Corona time.
It will kill.
Give me a break. Of the prophet of God in the Garden of Eden. I execute judgment on you, COVID-19. I execute judgment on you, Satan, you destroyer, you killer. You get out, you break your power, you get off this nation. I demand judgment on you. I demand a vaccination to come immediately.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
No more. I call you gone. You come down.
What are we going to do?
Burn.
We're all going to die.
Armageddon's on the way.
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary Crime.